never been done before.
We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route to do. We the people are free. And I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited.
Hello, folks. Happy New Week to you. How you going? Have you had a good weekend? Have you partied hard, or have you worked hard, or have you worked and partied hard? And if that's the case, I bet you buggered. It's always the way I used to like starting a Monday, worn out and with a hangover. Glad those days are behind me. And I hope they are for you too. I was much, much younger and was able to stand up to such rigorous abuse of myself. These days, I choose not to abuse myself in too many modes like that. So, no, the idea of a hangover absolutely terrifies me. And I hope to keep avoiding them for the rest of my life. Speaking of the rest of our lives, it's been a while in our lives since we've had Bob on for a bit of a chat. Now, that's because last time we chatted with Bob, he made us aware he was, having a few health issues. So we just wanted to help give him time to clear up those as best he could. And we've been in touch over the last few days, and we decided to set up a chat for tonight. So we've had to pre-record this, which is a tad unfortunate because of the hours that Bob is working. But all the same, he might be able to pop into the chat tonight while live, and I will certainly be in the chat tonight live as well. So look forward to seeing you in the chat live, if not talking to you here live. Might be able to join it afterwards live. I'm not sure how that works technically, but we'll see how it goes. At any rate, I've let you into the third wall secret, or the fourth wall secret of TV. This is pre-recorded, but I like to tell you when I am pre-recorded and when I'm not. As I said, it's been a little while since we've had Bob on, and we bring him back to the show with much rounds of applause and cheering. G'day, Bob. How are you?
Not too bad, mate. Not too bad for an old bugger in my condition, but I'm getting there. Slowly, but getting there.
The first question will be, how are you physically? Last time we spoke, you had a few health issues you were dealing with.
Yeah, I'm getting there. Basically looking at back surgery. Unfortunately, 25 years of driving big trucks and being hit in the back with the seat and that sort of thing has started to take its toll. And I've got to basically not getting any younger, and I'm sorting those health issues out. So
well, best of luck.
It's a battle.
Yeah, back issues always are, and I know what yours are, so significant indeed. I had a broken L1 vertebra many years ago, and it was not a major break by any stretch of the imagination, but I couldn't walk for 3 months, and learning how to do all that again was a bit interesting. So I know what you've got wrong with your back, so I hope in the first instance they're able to give you some relief. The easy way, let's just call it.
It's unfortunately the Australian roads, and when you start driving big gear and you get kicked in the back over every pothole. And I mean, I was driving road trains up to 130 ton. It starts to wear on you. So
it sure does.
It's one of the three main things it's one of the three things that goes with truckies, either back, hips, or knees. And right. I'm thankful it's just a back, but still, it's just as bad. Absolutely. But hey, battle on.
All right. Well, all the best for what's ahead of you. Let's get into something a little more interesting for the folks at home who I'm sure feel the same as I do. Wish you all the best. But I want to get a bit of a vague idea of what's going on in the world at different times. And you bring a very different insight into what we normally do here on the Voice of Freedom. Do you just want to describe for people who may be seeing you not seeing you as the case is for the first time, a little bit of your background?
Okay, so I started off with the Royal New Zealand Air Force, flying in the Orions. and we did maritime and air surveillance all around New Zealand. But because of New Zealand's locality, we also did patrols of Antarctica. And as a result of that, we overflew many interesting sites, let's put it that way, down in Antarctica. Not only the McMurdo base, but some old ancient civilization ruins, which are buried in the ice, but are visible at certain times of the year. Certain installations that are down there, like Vostok, which is a thermal lake. You can actually quite happily go and swim in it. It's about 20 odd degrees Celsius, even though the surrounding area is like minus 30 in the summer.
Wow.
So yeah, that's just a start for you.
Yeah. Now,
and,
interesting you should mention Antarctica.
Moving on. Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, sorry. You keep going. We've got a bit of a lag here, so it makes it hard.
Okay.
So you keep going.
Yeah, right. Okay, so then from that, I also had other special talents, which I've had since I was born. And basically, I'm a natural medium since birth. So, yes, I see the dead. And I can remote view. With extra training and that sort of thing that I received in the Air Force. They sort of honed that up. But then, because of what I was doing, they had to release me from the Air Force, and I started to do a few black ops in and around the world. This included going into areas such as Bosnia during the war. And there's many a story there to be told. And other conflict zones, looking or investigating into murders, deep state corruption, pretty much, you name it. Some of these high figures, I was checking in on them, and many a story right there to be told.
Yes, there's and some horrible ones, I'm sure.
Yes.
We will get to those.
Probably I couldn't. Yeah.
We will get to. We will get to those.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Did you, in the course of your flights over Antarctica, ever see pyramids? Because at the moment, pyramids are a little bit in the news, although they're not the Antarctic ones, they're the Egyptian ones. And under the Khafra Pyramid, it's been discovered by a private Earth-penetrating radar coming from private satellite, that there is massive constructions deep underground under the Khafra Pyramid. And some of the differences between that pyramid and others and time scales are now being questioned, have come to light. Now, I know, being in the New Zealand Air Force, you probably didn't have a lot of cause to overfly Egypt or have much to do with it. But we know that there are pyramids down in Antarctica, and I've picked up a couple of images that actually, show you these things. Now, what is appearing to come to light now over the weekend is a lot of people are starting to question anything that looks like a pyramid and appears to be a mountain. May have to look a little deeper, particularly in jungle-type areas where these things are overgrown and they don't actually appear to be pyramids anymore, just overgrown mounds. This gives you an idea of the scale of the pyramid, or one of the big pyramids, down in Antarctica. 2 kilometers, every side of it. I mean, that's a bloody big, very precise bit of natural stone, don't you think, Bob?
Yes, there are. And I can also tell you that in that cluster, there's also a third one buried in there, which is a lot smaller. Okay. So where these pyramids are actually located, they're sort of more up on a rise. So if you can consider where McMurdo bases.
I should let me
You've
see
got
if
the
I can just bring
peninsula.
up. Let me see if I can just bring up McMurdo based on a map.
Yeah, so you've got Mount Erebus, which is on the peninsula, and then right on the very, very far side of, well, if you want to call it a sound, but yeah, we're
Right.
talking several hundred kilometres across.
Right. Hang on, I'm just trying to take a screenshot, which I might be able to share once I edit it very quickly. Give me a moment. Because it appears in a format that I can't actually show you here, which is one of the wonderful little fun things we have to do before we get the show going, if you know what I mean. Every day we try very hard to give you something to look at, and you're now seeing what happens behind the scenes to make that happen. So I'm just hoping by the time I've got it, you'll be able to give us a bit of an idea of what the bloody hell I'm looking at. It doesn't look like it might be the clearest because I'm rushing. Let me save that as something I can see it as. And there. All right. Now, all I've got to do is load it in. Sorry about this, folks. Shouldn't take long, though it's only a little file. And there we go. Voila! So that's Ross Island. That probably doesn't look like McMurdo much to me at all. Hang on. I'm sorry, folks. There you go. You rush, stupid things happen, or stupid people, in which case I may well be it. I'm looking for a decent map. Show me images.
Yeah, you'd preferably, if you can, even have one with the ice cover sort of thing with it.
Let me see if I can share this page. So, okay, let me see if I can share this page. And it's just a Google page that I am looking at for lots of images. So there is one here, this sort of map of McMurdo, but yeah, I've got one of these browsers that shits itself like that. Is that the sort of thing you're looking for? And we can see on the left.
It's still loading on my end.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let me see.
So right, I was thinking about it.
So we can see where McMurdo is located in the map on the left, which is looking at the bottom of the world, if you like.
Okay, that's still thinking about it here.
Wow, okay. They might be playing with your connection a bit, mate.
It shouldn't be, because they've got fibre to the house, and normally it's pretty good. There you go. Yep. Righto. Okay, so if you're able to zoom in on the one on the left there.
Righto. Back here.
So you've got
God, I hate this thing. Hang on, let me go back and find it again. That's about as good as I'm going to get it at the moment.
Yeah, all right, all good. Okay, so now the McMurdo there, all right, it sits in the valley, and then you've got a peninsula that juts out, and you've got Mount Erebus that's to the side. So
yes,
essentially on the other side of that ice pack, which is into the Chinese territory. I'm trying to rattle my mind. So on the left of your screen there. All right. So sitting just on the shoreline, you've got ancient artifacts. Now, in the height of the summer, the snow and ice recede enough where you can actually see these artifacts. And we're talking about statues that are still on their plinths. We're talking about huge stone blocks, a couple of ton each, which are like scattered into a courtyard, almost like a large bomb or energy device has actually hit right smack in the middle of, where McMurdo and these ruins are, and actually created the harbour, whatever you want. But that distance is several hundred kilometres. And unofficially, this is why they got rid of the Antarctic air travel that Air New Zealand and Air New Zealand used to do.
Right.
Because back at that time, cameras were starting to get a lot better. So when they flew the DC-10 down there, they were starting to get very close to viewable,
discernible images.
viewable areas, and they needed it stopped. So best way to discourage anyone from going down there is have an accident. Essentially, what they did is they fudged the coordinates and stuff for the flight computer, and the aircraft actually flew into Mount Erebus to the right-hand side of McMurdo Sound. And since then, all sightseeing tours of Antarctica stopped. Now, there are certain areas that you can get into, and they are from South Africa. Now, the area that they fly to, there is nothing there. So there's no pyramids, there's no artifacts. It's what they deem a sterile area. So you also see on that map there too, Lake Vostok.
Oh, yes. I'll bring it back
so
up.
We're talking, quite a way inland. All right, so this is where they've actually got it's a natural lake, but they have full thermal waters underneath it. And literally you can go swimming in there and like have a bath, etc. It is that warm. And yet when you get out, you need to wrap very, very quickly.
Wow, okay. I'm sorry for the folks at home while I'm playing with that.
Up and around that area too, there are other installations. There are, they call it weather modification. They call it weather research.
Yeah.
But there is a installation. It is like a harp, but far more advanced. And I can tell you it is a weapon.
Is this a purely ground-based weapon?
That it is a ground-based weapon, yes. And it can be used to trigger earthquakes, and so they use basically the ionosphere at certain times of the day in order to reflect that sort of energy up into the atmosphere, and then it comes back down.
A couple of years ago, there was a gentleman.
Reports.
A couple of years ago, a gentleman came out. You and I were speaking about him before, pertaining to his time in Antarctica. Mm-hmm. He had a key to every room in the joint. Basically, he knew exactly what was going on. He suggested that that I guess this installation was used and accidentally triggered or tested, and Christchurch fell down.
Yeah, she took the words out of my mouth. Yes, having lived through the Christchurch earthquakes, like first thing in the morning, you had green sky. Now
Green sky.
Christchurch is green sky, so we were nowhere. Sorry, you're that far north, you do not get any of the northern lights. Northern lights. That sort of aura
The southern aurora.
effect.
Yeah.
Nowhere near it. Yeah, and you start seeing this. Again, I was driving through the night, and then 5 a.m. in the morning, you're seeing this. And then when you're trying to sleep at 11 o'clock, and that's when the first tremors started, and then the big one hit just on midday. And that's what shattered Christchurch. And yeah, it's that sort of stuff, not normal. Some of the connections that I had, that was intentional. The original Christchurch quake, which happened several months earlier, their targeting wasn't quite right, and it actually hit just outside of Christchurch. And the particular road, Telegraph Road, long straight road, suddenly ended up with a kink in it where literally the earth has shifted about 3 meters to the right. And it's like literally someone picked up the road and just shifted it over. It was that evident. Yeah. But anyway, coming back to Antarctica. So on the left-hand side of that map, you've got 3 pyramids that sit up top, and then you've got the ruins, etc., down below. I strongly suspect.
Do we know anything about the eastern or the right-hand side of the map? That's all Russian controlled, isn't it?
I believe so. And again, we're limited to what we can fly with our aircraft, our range. So because what we're talking about down there is it's some serious distance. So in order to get down there and then turn around and come back, I mean the Orion, we can stay aloft for around 13 hours. Now, in doing that, we actually had to shut 2 of the engines down. So she's a four turboprop aircraft. We would shut generally the 2 outer engines down, and we would have just the 2 closest to the airframe. We'd have those working.
Would you do that in cruise on the way down and then maintain that while you were down there and on the way back, or was this something you could fly down under?
So generally what we do is we do that in order to maintain to reduce fuel load, so we can actually get right the way down, because essentially we would have to come back to Christchurch in order to refuel. Now, we can get into Invercargill, but generally the residents kick up a stink when you have that size aircraft coming in. And Invercargill is only it's a smaller regional airport, and the locals generally kick up a stink because if a bigger aircraft like that comes in, it's noisy, it rattles their homes, they don't like it. So hence, generally, we would have to try and conserve our fuel, and we would come into Christchurch.
And the Orions weren't able to land on the ice floe at Antarctica, a New Zealand base or an Australian base to refuel.
They can, and we actually did once. We actually had an American researcher that was ended up with an appendicitis, which poisoned him. They actually did surgery on him down there, because they've got a full operating theatre down there. But his situation was actually that critical, because he was poisoned that badly. We actually had to land. So which generally we don't. So we come in, the engines are still running. He was brought straight in. We put him into the bunks, which sit at the very back of the aircraft, and we took off again. So we're literally on the ground no more than 5 minutes.
Yeah, wow.
So it is possible. Generally we try not to, because any takeoff and landing, you're going to end up burning more fuel. So it's easier to stay aloft, reduce your the number of engines, and then that will extend your range.
Yep, getting to cruise. So we've seen vision from I want to say the 1940s, late 40s or early 50s, where aircraft claim to have breached the ice barrier, so to speak, and come across heated lakes, which you've just say now is Vostok. Could that be what we were actually seeing, the discovery of Vostok?
Very, very, very likely, yes.
Yeah.
Because essentially the main sort of entrance into Antarctica is actually through New Zealand. The two main places. You either go through New Zealand or you go through South Africa.
Sure.
Through South Africa, it's just basically ice, and that's all there is. If you so at Christchurch Airport, you have the Antarctic program. So the Americans have actually got their own specific area in Christchurch on Orchard Road. Anyone can look this up, and they'll actually see the Antarctic program. And they get all sorts of aircraft there. We've had everything from the big Galaxies, C5 Galaxies, through the Globemasters, Starlifters back in the day, Orions. There's all sorts that fly in and out of there. There's a lot of military aircraft that a lot of spotters don't even see that land in there at all hours of the day and night, swap the crew, and away they go again. And there's Christchurch you could pretty much consider the main gateway to the majority of the bases and whatnot in Antarctica.
Is it
just
in fact
because
shorter?
It's far more centrally located.
It's a far shorter flight, obviously, from New Zealand to at least our side of Antarctica than it is going from South America. But if you or I was wanting to go on a cruise, we have to go to Argentina and head out through there and go to very defined areas.
Yes.
Was part of your job as you were flying down and back monitoring not just boats breaching New Zealand's fishing grounds, but boats that might be heading towards the Antarctic ice pack to check it out for themselves?
Most definitely. Which is generally when we would, I'd say go a lot further inland when, boats and that sort of thing are starting to hide. So they would try and hide in the little, little sounds and bays.
Yeah.
So when you start getting too close to land, radar and that sort of thing is interfered with, because you've got the height of the ice wall, a ship can actually disappear. So for us, we actually have to fly that coastline to actually find them. Now we've got what we call a magnetometer on the back of the aircraft, so that's a spike, and we actually use that for submarines.
Yeah.
Sorry?
That's like the Stinger tail.
So,
on the back of.
Yes. So what that does, that actually looks for changes in the Earth's magnetism. So when you have a metal hull vessel, that will actually change. So we can actually start to see exactly where these ships are, even without a radar. So, but primarily they're used for submarines. And yes, I can tell you there are submarines that far down. And they're not all American.
How
So
we've seen movies where they break through the Arctic ice pack, and the conning tower comes up through the ice, and the crew go out and do whatever. I think they did that Hunt for Red October, didn't they? Is that the kind of thing that they can do down in Antarctica as well, given that it's a land-based ice and snow mass rather than the Arctic?
okay, so so generally with the ice, etc., around where these bases are, the ice is we're talking hundreds of meters thick. So generally, no. If they tried to come up, it'll just smash their conning tower and whatnot to pieces. However, there are installations, I'll say that are down there designed for submarine, and they are not visible from the air. And
I think we're all starting to get an idea of some of the stuff that's under the snow and ice down there.
Again, it's one of the reasons why they don't want you down there. There are programs and things that happen down there. The powers that be do not want you anywhere near that place. And even going back to the pyramids.
When you say the powers that be, are we talking the nefarious, dark-hearted bastards known as the Deep State or the Cabal or various other names? Or are we talking, our... Okay, right, that's who we're talking about. So that's their territory.
We are talking Deep State. We are talking American industrial war complex. We're talking some of the biggest players are down there, because what they are doing, they do not want prying eyes anywhere.
Have you ever seen evidence outside of, the installations, the military style installations? Have you ever seen any kind of evidence of a city type environment on the surface?
Okay, on the city type environment, no. However, we have picked up heat signatures and electromagnetic radiation further in on McMurdo with the magnetometer. Once you start getting inland, we actually have to turn it off because it goes so wild. And this is not natural. It's not natural what I'm talking about. It's
There's no natural reason.
Very powerful stuff. No.
Well, that would be in line
so
with
whatever they've got in there.
It's got a lot of power in it.
Whatever they've got in there, it's deep.
That would be in line with what the fellow released with Stephen Greer. He said that the power that they could generate underground was, beyond anything anybody could imagine, and that there was evidence of a beam of light or a transmission beam 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, if you had the equipment to view it in the right spectrum. Would you have had that sort of equipment?
No, not on board that aircraft. No. But again, there's a limit where you can go to before before sort of other ground-based people will start to ask questions.
Sure.
So sort of coming out of my Air Force role, coming into what I was doing more on the Black Ops side of things, doing the remote viewing. There are installations down there, and there's, if you want to call it, research.
Did you have occasion to remote view anything down there?
Yes. So
is there
with the pyramids,
putting yourself in danger?
Okay, yeah. Some of, let's say, some of the things inside the pyramids with the writings. Now, this is Egyptian hieroglyphs, exactly the same as what you'll see in Egypt. One of the biggest lies that is perpetrated is the Egyptians only stayed in Egypt. Now, that is wrong. Khufu and his sons, they travelled extensively, and it has been proven that they have come way, way down into the South Pacific. Now, there is writings and there are, say, maps that are written on the walls, which actually detail, their travels. Now, we've had these as a remote viewer, actually gone in and hand drawn literally what I've seen, and I'm not the only one that has done it. We have actually hand drawn these hieroglyphs, and then we've actually had them translated. What we've never said to the universities is where those have come from.
Right.
And they actually talk of Khufu's sons travelling. Now, I also do believe somewhere that your Gosford glyphs also speak of those travels of Khufu's sons.
Okay.
So, be that one as it may, there are underground chambers as well in those pyramids.
Yep.
And we could not work out why. They're quite unique in how they are set up. Now, we've only gone in those particular pyramids probably down 300-400 feet. Now, that's all that I've explored.
Yeah.
There may be other remote viewers who have gone further, and there is more down there, I'm sure.
Well, if the evidence of Khafra appears to be real, then it can go as deep as 2 kilometers or more. So, what could be down there? God, they did say next month was going to be a month of revelations of all sorts of different things, but obviously, with the militaries, and as you've said, the American industrial military complex is well ensconced there. I imagine so too is whatever Russians' version of that is, and probably Europe's version of that. I know the French and the Germans have territory down there as well. I think there are a couple of other countries. New Zealand has some territory. This is
territory down there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. How do we, the people, take that back? I mean, we're going to be definitely relying on the white hats or someone similar to be cleaning that up. And I believe the war's being fought down there now for some years. Did you see evidence of any sort of, I don't know, resistance down there? I mean, I'm scratch that. I'm sorry. That's a stupid question because it's hard to see from 35,000 or 40,000 feet. So I've heard just stories, and they're from military or scientists or scientific people who have weird kind of degrees in different sciences, molecular biology and that sort of stuff, where they go down and extensively work in frozen areas so that they can work with very dangerous or whatever kind of isotopes or microbes or whatever they're using. They've said that there is a history of resistance down there, and I can only hope that is the case and that it's being fulfilled. And there are those amongst us who say that they have great connections to the White Hats, and that if you sing Kumbaya, everything's going to be all right. It's unfortunate. I'm just going to get off the topic here for a minute. It's unfortunate, Bob, because I know you probably don't want to talk about it, but I'm going to. It's unfortunate that people amongst us in our group, people who have a bit of a following and are respected, have for whatever reason, a jealousy, a pitiful ego, and a desire to tear anybody else down around them that, well, I suspect probably causes them some sort of personal threat to their sense of worth. And I was a bit dismayed to hear that one of these people has made, and we're all used to having attacks made on us. We're all good with that. You have only really stuck your head out here on this show, and the conversations that we've had have been very interesting, I think, from a variety of perspectives, and certainly the audience love having you on this show, and they love hearing what you have to say. I would just offer you with a piece of advice, mate, and it's a pretty simple piece of advice that we follow pretty much all day, every day in the media, and that is that we don't really sweat the small fry. And these people who scream and make accusations against us, it's water off a duck's back. But I was dismayed to learn that this woman, who I had some respect for, has made a personal attack on your family as well. Is that right?
That is correct. Yeah. It's, I couldn't care less what people say about me, whatnot. But when it comes to my family, this is the reason why I stay anonymous, because I need to protect them. And all I can say is, you corner me, I'll come out swinging, and that's how
we
I feel
all
with my
will.
family.
We all will. And once again, I was just asking, why the division? Why cause this angst? I mean, I know why you're doing it. Your ego's been bent out of shape a little bit for some reason. God knows why. But get a bit of self-control, get a bit of understanding, and keep in your own house would be my suggestion. We don't run around throwing sticks at other people unless we have very good reason to throw them. And I can't see those reasons given my understanding of the situation. So anyway, enough of that. If you don't know who we're talking about, folks, then that's probably a good thing. But trust me, they know who we're talking about. So all good. Bob, do you want to share something with us before you go? I have to get moving. Unfortunately, I have an appointment I need to be at. So, and I know you've got to get off to work. So was there something you particularly wanted to share today that I haven't touched on?
No, not overly, but what I will say, for if people that are really interested in Antarctica, remember back to World War II, Operation Paperclip, where the known scientists were picked up and went to the US. Well,
Russia.
The ones that went to the US, and Russia, they literally, the best of the best didn't go to the US. The best of the best went to Antarctica and South America. And some of them, in obscurity, will always remain that way.
Yep.
And that's all I'm going to say about that. The truly talented, they never saw the limelight.
And we know that there was a pipeline out of Germany that Hitler's, Hitler himself used, it's rumored, because Hitler lived till he was 93, apparently, in Argentina. So there was a pipeline. It involved U-boats and trips to Antarctica, to where the Third Reich had started building the Fourth Reich's home. And there's a whole other bunch of stories about that surrounding Admiral Byrd and a few other bits and pieces. So I can't wait until we can sit down and have another chat, Bob, and we might talk about all of those interesting things.
Most definitely. And maybe one day, many of us who have this information, instead of fighting each other, actually come together.
Yes.
It's not just it's not just what we know, it's what we don't know, and we're talking UFOs, galactic stuff, we're talking spiritual stuff, the whole 9 yards. And when a lot of this really gets out, most people are going to have their chin on their chest, and they will be totally blown away.
Yeah, I bet. Well, some of us are very excited for the revelations ahead of us and can't wait for them to come fast enough. Hopefully, we will have some of those between now and when we have you on next, because if timelines are anything to go by, they are to be ignored in my experience. But if you're one who likes to follow them, next month and the one after, at this stage, looking very interesting.
Just on that, for people in the economic playground, there's currently a lawsuit that has been put on Pam Bondi's desk in the United States. Might want to keep a very, very close eye on that, with Elon Musk currently going through the Department of Education, and the massive money that's been wasted. I'll say this, that home speculation and pricing, the the military industrial complex and Black Ops, this is one of their places they get funding. So be very careful that if what truly will transpire, we're talking into the trillions of dollars, and it's like a Ponzi scheme. That's why your house prices keep going up. The whole lot is all intertwined. That if this stuff really comes out, then there's going to be some major fireworks in the US economy, which may crash it. That's all.
Well, I think it'll have a global effect, I think, and a global effect.
Most definitely.
Yeah, we can't wait.
Yeah,
we can't wait.
It will cripple a lot of people. And
sadly, yes.
Some of the dirty dealings. Yeah, some of the dirty dealings. This stuff's been going on since 70s, and this is how deep and covert this funding really is. And where they're using government departments, NGOs, drugs, the whole 9 yards to fund these human military operations,
and trafficking, adrenochrome.
The list goes on. Pharmaceuticals. There's if Elon and Trump really do their homework, you're going to be in or America's going to be in for a massive shock when they find out the true extent of the
homework done. I can't wait till we get that kind of homework done here in Australia too. To be honest, I think we need to clean out too. Time to drain the billabong.
All right. Indeed.
Thank you, brother. You have a good one, Bob.
No worries.
Look after that back of yours and take a look in on us from time to time.
We'll do, and we'll definitely be in touch.
Thanks, mate. Talk soon. Bob, and some very interesting information about Antarctica in tonight's show. So with a bit of luck, Bob will be in the chat while you're watching this, and he will be able to pop in and answer a few questions. He will be at work, so it may or may not happen. I, on the other hand, will make every attempt to be in the chat with you when it goes live, and I don't think, unless I can figure out a way between now and when you're seeing this to join you at the end of it, I'll be joining you at the end of it. But if I am going to join you at the end of it, it'll be right after I do this.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up.
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back.
Does anybody else want to stay?
Let's rock!